Hello and welcome to another Steps of Sussex channel episode, and today we are going to be talking about a letter which Prince Harry has written and penned, and we're going to be reading that completely and totally in full. So just a little bit of background about this. This is a letter to African parks and the annual report on the world's current extinction crisis and the effects that coronavirus has had on this. So I'm going to read that in full in a moment, so just park that for just 1 second. That is obviously the main thrust of this particular video. As always, this is a live chat, so one of the most important things, of course, is to talk to you guys. So I'm going to go to the live chat, see who is about. By the way, speaking about wild places, the weather outside my window is really rainy and horrible. I'm sure you can see it's really bad and rainy. So speaking of wild places, we have a little bit of wild weather going on outside of my window right now. I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined as a channel member. I made a little bit of a mistake. I made the launch video go live before YouTube had accepted my tier level that I submitted, but now it is fully live. You can join. There should be a join button, and in fact I can see one just underneath this particular video now, but also you should find it on the regular channel page. It might be in a different place depending upon which device you are looking at, but it is most definitely live now. We actually have 9 channel members already, so thank you so much to the channel members, and you can use the emojis in live chats. And at the moment YouTube only allowed me to put 4. The more the channel memberships grows, the more YouTube allows me to add. That is the basis of it. So I think I chose the most important ones. We have Harry and Meghan's monogram. We have Prince Harry, we have Meghan, and we have Harry, Meghan, and Archie. So do let me know what other Sussex-themed emojis you would like me to add in the future. And of course, as I'm able to, I will add them. Also, as a channel member, your name will show up in green, highlighted in green, whenever you leave a comment or you take part in a live chat. Right, we have 30 people watching. I think it would be a good point to start with the letter. So, this letter, of course, was written by Harry, and it reads, let me just zoom in on it. There we go. I have always loved wild places is the title, and it's a letter from the President, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. I have always been grateful for what wild places provide. Since my first trip to Africa as a young boy, I knew I would keep returning to this continent, if I could, for its wildlife, for its people, and for its vast expanse. That is why I am so fortunate to have found African parks and to have been asked to join them in 2017 as their president. I am hugely grateful for their clarity of purpose and am more motivated than ever to do all I can to advance the mission of protecting wild places, for wildlife, for people, and for generations to come. We are currently living through an extinction crisis and now a global pandemic that has shaken us to our core and brought the world to a standstill. On the extinction crisis, the science is clear. We have perhaps a decade to course correct before we lock in our fate. On this pandemic, while much is still unknown, some evidence suggests that the virus's origins may be linked to our exploitation of nature. The gravity of these challenges is coming to light, but we must not be paralysed by them. There are solutions that are actionable and that work, and the African Parks model is one of them. African Parks pioneered private-public partnerships as a mechanism for delivering resources and management expertise to some of Africa's most embattled and vulnerable protected areas. These areas are essential for the well-being of local communities and in safeguarding our global climate, but only if they are protected and functioning properly. Do excuse me, that is not corona. From humble beginnings with just one 70,000 hectare park in 2003, African Parks today manages 17 parks in 11 countries, with over 13.3 million hectares under strong, effective and inclusive conservation management. And we are not stopping here. The parks stretch from rainforests to deserts, and in 2017 we began managing the first marine national park, Bazarutu Archipelago. My pronunciation is probably way off. Anyway, it's in Mozambique. Last March, we found ourselves on the front line of a devastating weather-related crisis when Cyclone Idai hit the coast. Homes were destroyed, people were displaced, there were cholera outbreaks, and lives were lost. But our rangers were first in transporting doctors, medical supplies, and delivering food to those in need. The most, even before the international relief agencies could arrive. It was a stark reminder of how these parks are positioned and the role they play as anchors of stability, providing essential services during our most troubling times, including this global pandemic. What I see in African Parks model is exactly what conservation should be about, putting people at the heart of the solution. African Parks is ensuring that the protected areas under our management directly benefit surrounding communities through security, education, jobs and investments made in local services and enterprises that can stimulate conservation-led economies. Conservation can only be sustained when people living closest to nature are invested in its preservation. Since becoming a father, I feel the pressure is even greater to ensure we can give our children the future they deserve, a future that hasn't been taken away from them, and a future full of possibility and opportunity. I want us all to be able to tell our children that yes, we saw this coming, and with the determination and help from an extraordinary group of committed individuals, we did what was needed to restore these essential ecosystems. To all our African Parks community, stay safe, stay well. Thank you for your continued support. Sincerely, and it's signed, Harry. That was a really, really lovely message from Harry, and I think it most definitely has highlighted all of the different challenges which have been facing our wild spaces, our conservation areas. I really liked the way that Prince Harry was able to, congratulate and be grateful for the work that African Parks have been able to do in the past, the present, and what it is looking forward to do, obviously, in the future. Obviously, Harry referenced directly the coronavirus pandemic, which is, obviously one of the greatest threats that we are facing. He mentioned that possibly there is some scientific link between our wild spaces, nature, and possibly the origins of where this pandemic has come from, and that obviously he's saying that by protecting these kind of environments and animals, our wild spaces, our wild animals, by looking after nature properly, perhaps these sorts of things wouldn't happen. I really like, obviously, the stats that now 13.3 million hectares are under strong, effective, inclusive conservation management, and we're not stopping here. So obviously, the ambitions lie ahead. Obviously, the other challenges, Cyclone Idai, our wild spaces are under threat, and one of the most striking, I'm trying to find it in here, but he said, here it is. On the extinction crisis, the science is clear. We have perhaps a decade to course correct before we lock in our fate. He's obviously directly giving us a very, very stark warning that time is running out. We have a decade to be able to turn the tide on extinction. There are so many different species of wild animal which are facing extinction. We have a decade. The science, he's saying, is clear. We have a decade to make some change, and there are changes that we can make. African Parks is, of course, at the forefront of this. So once I have gone off live here, I will provide a link to African Parks. So give me a few moments to pop that on. I will provide a link so that if you're not familiar with what they do, with the organisation as a whole, you can go, of course, and check that out. You know, Harry speaks about what I see in the African Parks model is exactly what conservation should be about. So do go and check that out. I will also be, I mean, I've been on there before, but I will also go and check because I haven't been on since the coronavirus has hit. So I'd like to see if there are, of course, any updates on that website about what they are doing, about what their model is doing for the coronavirus pandemic. Hello and welcome. We have 89 people watching live. I know because of the time difference, a lot of people aren't able to participate in a live chat, but please, if you're watching on Catch Up, feel free to leave a message, a comment in the comment box. I know that, you know, we have quite an active comment discussion, discussions go on in the comment section, so do go and check that out. All right, I'm going to read up and see what people have been saying. Lots of people saying good morning or good evening or good afternoon, or wherever you may be. Velva says Prince Harry has a beautiful heart. That letter most definitely is full of passion. Obviously, you know, Harry and Meghan both have a big long association with Africa, both separately and together. They have some shared wonderful moments of being in Africa together. But also Prince Harry has had a long-standing association with Africa. It really is, I think, almost in the roots of his DNA. But also Meghan, before becoming a member of the royal family, has had charitable associations with Africa, as I'm sure you already know. You don't need me to tell you that. So yeah, Africa is, you know, as a continent, is one of those places that is dear to the couple. So I definitely felt the passion in that piece of writing. Stan says hopefully the United Nations gets involved. Well, hey, they're not turning away any help. Let's hope that anyone who can help gets involved. Elaine says good to see you this morning. Watching you before Good Morning America. I am highly honoured to be on before Good Morning America. I may be back later as well because I want to talk. I don't know what time I'm coming back, but I want to come back later and talk about the Carolyn Durand tweet about Harry, Meghan and Archie contacting, obviously, Prince Philip for his 99th birthday. So I have a few things to say about that one. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But I wanted to make a separate video for this endeavour because obviously I think it's important and it needs its own video, its own dedicated video. So I'm going to leave it here. I don't want to drag things out. I want this video to be quite succinct and to the point so that people that want to find it can watch it and it's not 40 minutes long of me rambling, basically. So thank you so much if you were able to join me live. Thank you so much if you are a channel member. It really does help keep this channel going in these difficult times. And also, you know, obviously if you're watching on Catch Up, please feel free to leave a comment and join in the conversation. So if you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, in rainy Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.